Hey everyone, it is day unknown of quarantine, and we're back with another edition of the Refined Roundtable. I'm Brandon Bernstead from Seattle Refined. Joining me, as always, managing editor of SeattleRefined.com, Britt Thorson, assistant managing editor, Abby. Help me pronounce it, Abby. Lushai. Got it.
You'll
It will come naturally. Abby is the newest member of the team, and we've never actually physically met. We have only met over Zoom. So we'll get it down. We'll get it down. Guys, I want to get into it. Let's get right into our hot topics. We start naturally with some Bachelor-related content. Let's share the screen. Peter Weber addressing dating rumors with Kelley for the first time. Peter basically saying that no, they're not dating, but he'd be lucky to date her, and he's crushing on her. Reminder, Peter and Kelley are also quarantining together at Kelley's apartment in Chicago with Dustin, who was also a contestant on The Bachelorette.
Why is
what do we think?
So small? I don't understand why the Bachelor world is so small that in a pandemic, there are multiple groups of Bachelor people who have been on the franchises who feel the need to quarantine together. Like, do you just lose all of your actual friends and family after you go on these shows and your only friends are those that are Bachelor related? Why in the world would they even be quarantined together, even if they were dating?
So random to me. This one, especially like the Hannah, Tyler, Matt situation makes a little more sense to me, but Peter, Kelley, and Dustin is just totally.
Two things. A of all, Dustin is a random, yes, but it feels like Dustin is friends with all the dudes from Hannah B's season of The Bachelorette, which he was on and made basically like zero impression on the show, but he pops up all over the place in Peter's Instagram stories. He's friends with Tyler Cameron. Anybody who's friends with that many dudes from one season, probably a good hang. I'm just going to say it.
That's true. That's very true.
B of all, I think it's a content thing. It's like, okay, I can make content with my family, not going to be maybe as cool or newsworthy, but if I can make content with two other people from The Bachelor, then I get an E! News headline out of this deal.
You think they're looking for press, though?
I don't know.
I mean, so much of it.
Yeah,
got to get that influencer dollars.
I guess if I was
on TikTok, like the three, and then the three were like having like, they were like raising money for charity, I think too. So I feel like it's also, I mean, I don't think it's all like a big thing, but why not make the most of it, I guess.
I just feel like after Peter's train wreck of a season, if I was him, I would just want to like hide for a while. And I would see quarantine as like a great excuse, a gift from God to just bury my head in the sand for a while and let all of that go by.
I was wondering what happened because initially the reports were that he was going to be quarantining with his family, and now all of a sudden he's just with like two people randomly in Chicago. Like, were him and his family still at odds about the way his season ended, or was he just like, yo, I gotta get out because like Barb is just a little too much right now?
Which I could totally see that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just to dovetail on this, Kelley also speaking out, and she said that producers on The Bachelor essentially kept her from Peter. One of her quotes was that she was basically, quote unquote, locked in a closet for 3 hours, which probably means she was just stuck in ITM interviews and they wouldn't let her leave. But essentially, she's implying that she was kept from Peter and that the producers were pushing other people to the front and maybe getting in Peter's ear. And quite honestly, that surprises me 0%.
Yeah, 0.
Why do you think producers didn't like her for him? Because they obviously had in their head a idea of who they wanted him to add up with, or like they thought, you know, his story with Hannah Ann or whatever was a better one. But why wouldn't his story with Kelley be a good one? I don't really get that. She's funny, she's quick. They had kind of like this kismet meeting weird thing in this hotel. I feel like that would be fine.
Maybe she just wasn't enough drama. Like that 3-on-1, right? Was that when she got sent home? Was that 3-on-1? Yeah. I feel like a lot of those were cut in like audio from like maybe like a while ago to like kind of make her seem more angry or feisty or kind of like drama than like how maybe she actually acted. And so maybe it was, if she would have made it to, you know, the final 2 or the final 3, she wouldn't have brought as much drama as Victoria F., Maddie, and Hannah Ann would have.
I also think maybe she wasn't willing to play the game. Like, there's a certain level of you having to get along with the producers and kind of give them the sound bites they want and express your feelings in Bachelor lingo. And I just don't know if Kelley was really up for that. Like, I mean, the quote that always stuck with me from her is, "Things can be easy," as she was talking to Peter. And I mean, we saw it. Like, Pete wasn't exactly like a guy who liked things particularly easy.
No.
So
loves to chase.
You know, I actually am rooting for them just because I like her. I mean, look, let's go with, if Peter gets a love story out of this, great. He remains a Seahawks fan. That's good enough for me, I guess. Let's move on and talk about the streaming wars, because there was a new contender that just joined the mix. It's called Quibi. This is from Jeffrey Katzenberg, big producer, kind of Hollywood type. A lot of big names attached, but the caveat with Quibi is that episodes of these shows, or these, like, I guess they're like, some of them are sort of movies, are 10 minutes or less. And this feels like the worst time to launch a 10-minute or less streaming service ever.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I from Sunday to yesterday, I watched 32 episodes of a TV show on Netflix. So I'm like, I can't have a streaming service that gives me 10-minute shows, because I need hours of this. And that's
what you watch.
Yeah, what was the show?
I'm rewatching, so I'm doing rewatches so I can like have it on in the background while I work, and I don't have to actually like pay attention because I know what's going on, but it's like a nice refresher. So I'm rewatching The Vampire Diaries. So I started it on Sunday, and I'm already on season 2, episode 16. So
wow,
can't do a Quibi.
No.
For me.
If I was Quibi, obviously this has been in the works for a while, and I totally understand what a bummer that coronavirus happens. Everyone's in pandemic mode. I think that the board of directors, when they had a meeting where they decided to push forward still, that was a mistake. They should have just cut. They should have said, okay, this is a bummer. We're going to have to push, because yeah, right now is literally the only time when I want things actually longer. Like, make them as long as possible. Take up as much of my time as possible, because I want something to do. If I can binge a Quibi series in an hour and I finished all the episodes, that doesn't do anything for me. Come on.
And the mobile first. The on the phone thing also, I think, doesn't help that. I feel like if this would be any other time and maybe we were on our lunch break and we wanted to watch like a 10-minute show, it'd be great, like on our phone, but at home with hours to spare, it just...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I would consider watching is apparently like Tyler Cameron is like the carpenter on a like build extravagant dog houses like show. I would like check out an episode of that, but like more just to see if he's actually good at building things, or if that was something from The Bachelorette. Right? Yeah, he's a general contractor, I think was his title. All right, so from a streaming platform that we can all agree maybe was mistimed to honestly the best thing on the internet right now, it's John Krasinski's YouTube show. It's called Some Good News, and they pulled off one heck of a surprise when they surprised a 9-year-old girl who couldn't go to Hamilton with the entire Broadway cast of Hamilton doing Alexander Hamilton from the show via Zoom or some other service, which was electric. I'm just going to play I need to put it on mute. Sorry, guys. Like everybody, Lin-Manuel, Leslie Odom, Anthony Ramos, Daveed Diggs, the full cast singing to her. Big winner in this. I think it's Zoom or whatever platform they were using, because the sound quality was like A1 on this.
It was incredible.
It's great. Can you give him a little bit of the audio, Brandon?
I don't know. I don't know what our rights and restrictions are. I would just say go to YouTube and search Some Good News, because honestly, the entire 16 minutes of this was like heartwarming content.
Very enjoyable. It is a great show, and this just added to it.
And just like as a Hamilton fan, myself too. I mean, they do the whole number. It's like the title number, and it sounds fantastic. You get the same, obviously it's not the same as seeing it live, but I kind of got the same chills. Like I got the same kind of feeling that I got when I was watching. I'm literally sitting here just going like this at the screen. It was so good. And now I'm just going to be on the Hamilton Spotify playlist for probably the next couple weeks, just reliving that until 2021, fall 2021, when we get the movie.
I was thinking about this. Like, I want to see it on the big screen, so I'm glad they're waiting. But, like, can you imagine if they released the Hamilton movie right now and we're just like, we want to give you this thing to get you through quarantine? Because I would straight up watch that, like, probably every day. Like, just for
it. I feel like if they had it, they would. But fall 2021 is far enough away that I feel like the finished project is I mean, one of the first things I thought about, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Many things to think about during quarantine. But one of the things I was worried about was, you know, is this now going to push that? Like, were they planning on filming, much like many other movies and TV shows are having to postpone because they physically can't film right now? They're probably not able to film that. If they finished filming, are they able to edit? Like, are people being allowed into editing rooms? Who knows?
Well, so here's the thing about that is the way I understand it is that they're not actually filming this movie. This is something that was previously filmed with the entire Broadway cast at the Richard Rodgers Theater before they all went their separate ways. So this is the Broadway cast in their element during the show. So you get the true theater experience.
Oh my gosh. So it's sort of like a special, it's like a special. Oh, okay. So they're not doing with a set and that whole thing. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Then they should for sure release that right now.
100%. All right. Yeah. I think we can all agree on that. If not, just like hit the Hamilton playlist on Spotify. Just live that a little bit. I want to talk quickly as we move forward here about quarantine pet peeves. We're all living in this kind of quarantine bubble. Britt, I know that you have some pet peeves.
I do. And I also want to preface by saying I understand everyone's out there struggling right now. We're all in this weird headspace, and we're trying our best to be healthy and safe. I'm sure you guys have friends and family members who are healthcare workers. My sister's a nurse. I have a bunch of friends who are a nurse. And kind of as I've been checking in with them during this time, they've kind of had a little bit of some pet peeves with the general public that they're seeing. And it's almost like we're doing what we can do, so you need to do what you can do. So we did an article on like nurses' pet peeves. And one of the pet peeves that some of the nurses mentioned was also a pet peeve of mine beforehand. So I kind of am piggybacking on that. And that is, social distancing and the 6 feet rule still applies in a grocery store. Like, it's not like once you walk into the grocery store, you throw that out the window. And the grocery stores are like, that's where we're all kind of, I don't know, we should be the most in tune because we're the most close to physical human beings than hopefully we are any other time. And I was at the grocery store yesterday doing like my weekly trip, and people were walking around like we're not in the middle of a pandemic. And I was getting a little bit verklempt because I'm like, you say the 6 feet, we're all doing this dance. Why are you getting so close to me? Like, there were some senior citizens there who were getting very close to me, and I was getting worried for them. I was like, you guys, you were the ones we were trying to protect. Like, I don't know. I was very upset that it felt like out in the real world, we're all doing the 6 feet thing. But then once we step inside a QFC, suddenly all bets are off and we can be really close. Okay. That's my rant of the day.
People get real close at like the checkout line, I've noticed too. I'm like, you can't get like right behind somebody because like you have to stay that 6 feet just because you're in a checkout line that doesn't go out the window. But yeah.
So I was at not inside the grocery store. I did some grocery pickup today, and I will say, just even sitting in the parking lot, Trader Joe's had the line. Everybody was spaced out 6 feet apart. They were only letting a certain amount of people in the
Trader
store.
Joe's
so like
killing it with the following the rules.
Crushing it. But even the people walking into Whole Foods down in Kirkland, a ton of them wearing masks, a ton of them, it seemed like being really vigilant. So I was actually going to say, like, shout out to all of you who are wearing masks and thinking about social distancing during this time, because, I mean, as the stats have shown, obviously knock on wood here, Washington's doing a really great job. And I think, props to all of you who are taking it seriously, because we want to be able to actually like go outside at some point this summer.
I want to give a little pet peeve real quick, because I have some friends who are still like not following the social distancing rules. Like they're going on dates with people they've never met, or they're going and hanging out on Friday night to have a couple drinks at like their house. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, you don't think everybody else wants to go hang out with their friends or go on a date or have a drink with their friends? Like no one is special. Everyone just stay home. So I just want to say, if my friends are watching, stay home. Because they're not listening to me.
Yeah, Abby's friends, stay home. That's just please do. I haven't left my house essentially in like
on blast
weeks.
On social media now, so I want them to stay home.
All right, we are gonna move on. We're running a little short on time. We're running a little over. We wanna make it move. So Refined recommends streaming recommendations. Britt, what do you got?
Oh shoot, it's the Netflix drug one. There's, oh gosh, can you go to someone else? I remember.
Yeah, Abby, hit me.
If you guys haven't seen, if you have Hulu and Little Fires Everywhere, Reese Witherspoon, Kerry Washington, you can't really beat that combo. Highly recommend.
Couple of movies that I've got. I went down the rom-com rabbit hole, which is I am wont to do. I'd never seen Notting Hill, and let me just tell you, if you have or you haven't like visited it in a while, worth revisiting. That film is A1. Deeper cut, if you like some comedy, particularly if you like Chris Rock, there's a movie called Top 5 that came out like 5-6 years ago. It's like peak Chris Rock. He wrote and directed it. Super funny. It's like an hour 40. You will leave feeling good. And if you're just looking for a little spoonful of sugar in your day, I would say just turn on HGTV, because it is the chillest, most low stakes watch you can have. I watched 5 episodes of My Lottery Dream Home on Friday night, and it was electric.
Okay, I looked it up. It's Netflix. It's called How to Fix a Drug Scandal. And it's about this scandal in Massachusetts where the drug labs where all drugs are tested for crimes. A couple of the people there were doing a little skimming off the top. And because of that, they had like hundreds of cases that had to be thrown out or booted because of this one person kind of making some moves in the lab. That was really good. And then on a totally different note, there's a podcast called Where Should We Begin with Esther Perel. She's like a couples therapist, but you don't have to be in a couple to listen to it. It basically like you have, she talks to a couple and you get to hear them in a couples therapy session. Wow. And it's fascinating and it's juicy. And you also learn some things about yourself, regardless of whether you're dating anyone or not. And I've basically been binging it like nonstop. It's essentially free therapy, to be completely honest.
I love it. All right, before we go, about 20 seconds each, guys. Shout outs or some people you want to plug, anything you've got to plug, or just some people that you want to give a shout out to.
Yeah, so Babar on Capitol Hill, specifically their Capitol Hill location, they're doing a deal where those who work in the food, restaurant, bar, and hotel industry, they're giving $5 meals to. Daily from 1 to 5 p.m., you can get your full meal for $5. This includes people who are currently employed in those industries and also those who have been laid off in those industries. So shouts to Babar Capitol Hill for that, and head over to them if you fall in one of those industries. And thank you also for your service.
And Dick's Drive-In, actually on Friday, they announced that they were going to be people could purchase a box of 24 burgers and they would match it up to like 500 boxes. And they sold out of those by like Sunday. So they upped it to 1,000 and they hit that goal yesterday. So this week, I'm sure in the coming weeks, they're going to be sending over or like 2,000 boxes of burgers to hospital staff and first responders. To help, thank them for everything they're doing and just kind of give them a little bit of support. So that's really cool of them.
Kind of in the same vein, a bunch of restaurants are doing community kitchens where they're giving free meals to, in the same way that Babar is, to folks in the hospitality restaurant industry who may be out of a job. Solare, Eduardo Jordan's restaurant, has become a community kitchen. Musang up on Beacon Hill. There's a number of others. I encourage you to check them out, donate if you can. And then also just like a shout out to all those workers like at grocery stores and things like that who are stocking shelves and going through the checkout line. You know, it is it's a tough gig, and we appreciate you out there. All right, guys, that is a wrap on the Refined Roundtable. We will see you back here on Thursday. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.